Obviously, a lot of this buildup is, dating back to the Ultimate Fighter. I think you guys are the only two left from that season
Yeah.
still on the roster. So I'm curious, is this personal for you, or is it just, another fight and it's just all the noise around is just build up?
I mean, there's a lot of noise around it. This is definitely a history fight. I feel like initially Dana thought that we would match up for the finale. She ended up winning that season. I won fight of the season, and in that fight, I ended up sustaining a broken hand, a fractured forearm, and stitches. And like people just don't understand the intensity that goes into that short time frame of filming. And so it just didn't play out. I lost in the semifinals, and now here's our journeys all these years later. What I don't understand is it's a fight that I've wanted for a very long time, and it's taken 11 years to get here. But needless to say, I'm super excited for this one. And so, I mean, the animosity is she's someone who definitely gets under my skin. Absolutely. I didn't know Juliana going into the house, and then I just quickly learned her personality. And so it's just been years that I'm like, hey, let's do this.
And obviously, the big story is, from your time on the Ultimate Fighter to now, I think you guys are the only two fighters left from that season still in the UFC. So I'm curious, did you ever think Raquel would get to this point? Like when you were sharing a room with her and training with her and being around her, did you see her ever reaching the championship or fighting for the title even back then?
I have to be honest, and I don't mean this in any sort of disrespectful way, but I've never thought about Raquel and her fighting and what she's doing and how her career is going and the trajectory of how she's going. It's always just been a focus on me and myself and what I know I can do.
Were you surprised that she was the one welcoming you back with the title? Because I know you and Myra had some issues and people thought it would be you two matched up and then Raquel stepped in. Did you ever think it would be her holding the belt when you would return?
No. To answer your question, no, I did not. However, I will say that she has earned the opportunity, and she, did everything that she needed to do in order to, get gold. To me, it has always felt almost like she was fighting for an interim, just because I fell out with Amanda and I wasn't able to make that fight. Let me also piggyback that with it was my fault. It was my fault that I wasn't able to fight with Amanda, and it was my fault that she was fighting for interim. So the only person that I can blame is myself.
I think you said something like you've been waiting for her to sign her name on the dotted line for a while to fight this. Like, have you actually been matched up? Because she was in here and she's like, I've never been offered a fight with Raquel.
No, I've asked for the fight multiple times. And whether it's true or not, I mean, people say all the things. They're like, she doesn't want to fight you. And so, I mean, we know Juliana, she's going to say 100% different. But I've asked for it for years, and somehow it's never aligned. But it is what it is.
She said that you've been avoiding citing the dotted line for like a long time. She said that in a few interviews now. Like, were you guys ever matched up after the Ultimate Fighter?
No, and that's the part that doesn't make sense. We've never had a fight. They've never offered me Raquel. They never said to fight Raquel. Ever since I won the Ultimate Fighter, I have always been looking in front of my windshield. I've never been looking in the rearview mirror. So I've always been going up the ladder, and I haven't been focusing too much on, down the ladder.
And Raquel said that in the end, it's going to come down to who wants this more. How confident are you that you want this championship victory more than your opponent?
I believe that I want this opportunity, and that this championship belt means more to me than it does to her. And it's very clear when you match us up side by side. Raquel has not been a good representation of the women's bantamweight division. She has not promoted. She has said no to embedded. She has constantly done everything that she can to avoid being the face of women's MMA and not being that big face that wants to promote and be that great representation of women's MMA. That to me is, you're telling me nothing, but you're showing me everything, or you're showing me nothing, but you're telling me everything, by not being that person that is letting everybody know that you're fighting. I want to be that person. That's my role, and I can do it better. And that's why I believe that I'm going to be able to seal the deal on Saturday night and get that gold again.
She was also in here and she said that she doesn't think you are a good representation of the women's bantamweight division because you don't promote it. She said something about how like you turned down embedded or something like that, and she's just said like this. The question presented was, "Do you want to win? Who wants to win this title more?" And she goes, "It's me because I can promote this division and everything." So do you think that's just her talking again, or does she believe that?
We all know that Juliana has a master's degree in yapology. All she does is talk shit. She keeps herself relevant that way. And to sit here and say, oh, I turned down embedded, how does she know anything into what I'm even doing? Like, it's interesting, but you know, she just yaps and she talks. But at the end of the day, I've always been me. I stay authentic to who I am. I don't feel the need to go out there and do all the extra shit talking and whatnot. Like, this is 14 years of hard work. I got here just staying in my lane, and you want to call me a terrible representation? Like, I didn't see her doing any better. She, you know, she had the biggest upset, and then she turned around and she got her ass handed to her for 5 rounds. And so, where's the representation in that? But I can tell you for sure, I damn sure, like, I'm here to stay and still.
She also said that she even prepared for 2 fights for this, Kayla and Juliana, in case Juliana pulls out again or anything like that. Do you think she's just saying that, or do you think she actually did try to prepare for 2 fights?
The only reason why I laughed at that statement is like, I was like, yeah, it's true. I always do get injured, so it's that good for her. She will have realized that she made a mistake on Saturday night.
And then last one for me, I think you were in Manchester, correct?
Yes, sir, I was.
Watch Bilal.
Yeah.
And at his media day, he said that, Chicago sports isn't in the best shape right now. And he wanted to kind of take that mantle and run with it as like the champion in Chicago. So I guess what was it like seeing him win the title and then, possibly getting the second title back to Chicago?
Well, that was my hope too when I won it the first time. I won the belt. I brought it back to the lake, and I was trying to make, Chicago sports scene, trying to motivate those Bears and trying to motivate, all the White Sox and anybody else I could that was playing professional sports in Chicago. Not so much my luck there. Bilal's doing a great job of representing the city of Chicago, and I'm looking forward to, bringing the belt back again so that we can both, especially coming from the same gym, be representing Chicago and being champions and hopefully motivating the other teams to, step up their game.
Kind of going off of that, I think if you win, you tie Amanda.
When I win.
When you win, you tie Amanda for the most wins in this division. I'm curious, did you think you would be competing this long? Because a lot of fighters, they have they go, I want to retire at 35 with all these wins. I'm curious, did you think you would reach this far in your career?
No, honestly, I mean, when I started this 14 years ago, sports medicine has changed so much. When you got to a certain point in this career, I mean, just as an athlete in general, you hit 35 and that sounds real old. And just kind of putting your body through the ringer. But like I said, I mean, sports medicine's changed so much. And honestly, I feel truly in my prime. I remember when it was like, okay, I'm gonna fight until I'm like 31, 32. And in fighting, like the years go fast. You get into a fight camp and before you know it, half of the year's gone. So yeah, no, I didn't think it was going to be this long, but I've stuck it out. And like I said, I feel in my prime and all the stars are aligning and I'm super excited.
Juliana, one more over here. When you were talking about how Raquel, she hasn't been this representation of women's MMA because she's not promoting, is it I know you're focused on the fight on Saturday, but there's obviously this big name that's also on this card in Kayla. And I think when you fought Amanda, that brought a lot of eyeballs to the sport because people always said Amanda needed a foil that could challenge her on the mic. And Kayla seems to be already promoting a fight with you, and you don't even have a fight lined up yet against her. So are you not looking past Raquel, but are you kind of excited about the possibility of just the build up to a fight with Kayla Harrison and the press conferences and the medias and the embeddeds that it could lead to in the eyes on this division?
Again, I like how you phrased that question because you said not looking past Raquel. My goal, my job is to be looking in front of my windshield right now. And Raquel is in front of my windshield right now. Kayla's in the rearview mirror. Kayla has a job to do and I have a job to do. I need to get my hand raised on Saturday night. When that happens, then we can talk about Kayla. But right now it's all about me and Raquel Pennington.
In terms of the actual fight, I think, you said you could envision this being a war. Juliana's coach said, she has the advantage in power. Juliana said that her coach.
And your power?
That's what she says. Is her coaches are going to let the dog off the chain. So I'm curious, how do you see this fight playing out as you laugh at?
At the end of the day, the way that I see it is honestly, I mean, yeah, we're the last two from the Ultimate Fighter. We've been here for a long time, but I've been the most active. I've fought in the best of the best. I've done a bunch of things throughout my career. And just when it comes to it, I mean, anybody sits here and they're like, oh, you don't let your hands go. Dana's been telling me for how many years now?
I think you said that on Tough, right?
On Tough, after every single fight, his exact words, let your fucking hands go. There's a reason for that. I've crossed a lot of coaches' paths. I've hit mitts with a lot of people and they're like, dude, the power that you produce. I train with the guys because the girls, they get frustrated when I train with them and it's not even trying to hit anybody hard. I just have a snap behind me. So I know I have true power and I know that I have true skill behind me in every which way. I feel like coming off the Ultimate Fighter, I was categorized as a brawler. but I truly feel like a well-rounded mixed martial artist. I have a great jiu-jitsu game. I have a great wrestling game. You know, my coach is always telling me, he's like, hey, like, I just want to put you in some wrestling matches. And it's like, absolutely not. He's like, you're really good at it. And so, you know, just overall, like, her coaches can say what they want. She can say what she wants, but I feel like I'm the more polished fighter going into this.
Obviously, this fight's been a long time coming. So how do you see it playing out on Saturday?
The way that I see the fight playing out is getting my hand raised. I am confident in my preparation. I will tell you that once that cage door closes, I haven't seen anybody that has the mindset, the determination, the will, and the grit that I possess. And I think that that's what's going to carry me through to victory.
You just mentioned this with Jose, and I am curious. I spoke to Phil Rowe a couple of years ago, and he mentioned having a very natural, snappy punch. And you saying snappy kind of made me think about it. Do you think that's more of a natural thing, or is that something that's built over time and something that has been kind of something that you have clawed at and worked at specifically to make sure that you do throw such specific damaging shots?
Listen, when I first started this sport, I came from basketball, volleyball, softball, gymnastics, like every other sport you can think of. I had no fighting behind me. I didn't grow up fighting. I had an annoying cousin. They call us Chip and Dale. We're 5 months apart, and he's the only one that I fought, but I don't think my technique was that great, even though I got the better hand all the time. And my first training session, you know, we went in, we talked to the coach, and he's like, here's what this sport is, and here's practice tomorrow. So I show up, I step on the mats with socks on. He's like, no, we got to take those off. And I'm like, okay. And then he gives me some hand wraps, had no clue what I was doing. I'm like, all right, what are we doing today? And he's like, sparring. What is that? And I just got fed to the wolves, and I absolutely fell in love with it. But I think it's a technique that, like, it just came natural, you know, just me being naturally athletic and stuff. And throughout the years, I feel like I've just definitely perfected that. I feel like I truly have one of the best jabs in the game. And so, you know, it's just, I don't know. Some people can work on it and work on it and work on it, and they can build up to that. And sometimes there's just people that have the natural ability.
You said that this is the biggest fight of your life and the most important fight of your career. Did that lead to any different preparations or, you know, training coming into this one, any more intensity than normal?
I know that this is going to sound cliche, but every single fight that I fight is the biggest fight of my life. But I feel like, especially at this day and age, the window of fighting for me narrows day by day by day. I am not no spring chicken no more. I'm not 21 years old, you know. But with that being said, comes experience, comes a bit of wiseness in the game. I feel like, again, every fight is the biggest fight of my life, but especially this one because I'm going for gold again, and you're not going to get 100 chances to fight for the belt. It took me a long time of calling for the belt to want to get to this point. And now that I'm at this point, it's to maintain, and I'm always going to be in these championship fights. So these are gigantic fights for me, and I'm going to do everything that I can to seize the moment.